Mr. Boaty.
Name's Roger Boaty. Mr. George Roger Boaty.
Well, my lovelies, it is almost indescribably wonderful to be here with you once again. A very warm welcome to Tuesday Night Live, where I will be coming live into your eyes and ears, directly here from Windy Bottom in the Peak District National Park. And how are you? How has your day been? What have you been up to? What have you done today to make you feel proud? More on that story later. I especially want to know what you've been eating, if you've been working on any YouTube stuff. I'd love to hear about that. I'd like to hear any work gossip, any sort of gossip from the workplace. If Sandra from accounts and Jack from maintenance are getting it on secretly, I would like to hear about it. And if anything has nearly fallen on your head, tell me about that also. And I'd like to know what you had for lunch, what you had for dinner, how you slept last night, and what you had for breakfast today, especially if it involves a toast rack. So, who have I got? Matt _ good evening. Oh, Liz, how lovely. Typhoon Cat. You've been a busy bee lately, Liz, haven't you? I hope you're keeping your head above water and you've got a bit of time to well, catch up with yourself and chill out and calm down and stuff. Cheers, darlings. Your very good health. Here's to you all. Simon, Project MGTF, good evening to you, sir. The lovely Trace, the Greenwood. Adam, Pure Evil, wonderful. Barry is here in our midst, that's great. Oh, what's that? Oh, a comment on one of my videos from Project Nigel saying I enjoyed most of that. Well, that's high praise indeed coming from Mustard. He must have just watched today's video, which was God almighty, it was only earlier today. It was part 1 of Mustard and Boaty Do Monday, wasn't it? And oh yeah, it was my frustrating journey to the yard with a lot of language that I really should be ashamed of, especially the word cunty bollocks. I apologise for using that word and inflicting it on you. And a bit of the wonderful Johnny, of course, Johnny No Scoobs, as he must now be called, because all of his Scooby-Doos have gone, and he's now got two Rovers and a Mercedes, but there we are. I'm so sorry. Splendid. Mark is here, Bad Books, that's excellent. Neil Gibbons, good evening to you. Trisha Alderman, how lovely, always a pleasure. Paul Smortion says good evening to you. Liz is here under Jabberwocky 220 GTI, so you are twice welcome, young Liz. Scary, says Mark. I thought you had your dog collar on for a second. No, sir, no, just a plain, well, sort of pinstripey blue shirt thing. Adam says, today I weighed the wing of a Rover 25. It was 2 kilograms, if anybody was curious. And welcome, Maiden Burpage, says Trace. Yeah, came early tonight, didn't it? Cheeseburger is amongst us, so a jolly good evening to you. And Liz is saying hello to lots of lovely people. And I'm going to have a slurp of wine. My day, seeing as you didn't ask, was okay. I'm tired. I'm always tired after a Monday. Tuesday's kind of like my day off, where I try not to do too much, but you know, I was up at a reasonable time. It's summer. I don't tend to sleep in during summer. It's the old oh, what's it called? Oh, I've forgotten. But whatever it is, it's that thing in your body that that means that when it's winter, you want to hibernate and sleep until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And when it's summer, your body is telling you, look, don't worry about being tired. Get your fat ass out of bed and get on with stuff. It's warm. There is sunlight. What's the word? Liz will know. It begins with an S. No, I can't think. No, I've got a mental block on that word. So I was up earlier than I would have ideally been. Had my usual breakfast, a slurp of juice, a strong black coffee, 1 slice of lavishly buttered toast, and a cigarette. And then I got on with editing videos and whatnot. It was raining, so I put some shampoo on Stigbürt. I tend to do that. Am I the only person that does that? If it's raining, I tend to go out and half wash a car, by which I mean I lather it up with some wax shampoo and just leave the rain to rinse it off. It's like an opportunity to do half a job or have half the job done for you. I got the old, I think I told you about getting the P-scan on Stigbürt, didn't I? I got Stigbürt down to the garage to tell the chaps all about what I'd found on the diagnostics. I made lunch, and for lunch I had lazuli chicken. That's my chicken supreme marinated in garlic and mustard and other good things, with homemade big old skin on rustic chips done in the oven again, and they were absolutely fabulous. And I had that with a bit of white pepper Cajun gravy and some fried onions, and that was jolly nice indeed, to be quite honest with you. And then well, that pretty much took me through to going to work. Tonight was unexpectedly busy. Unexpectedly busy tonight. Really was busy. Unexpectedly busy. And exceptionally busy for a Tuesday. To give you an idea, tonight, which is Tuesday, and was unexpectedly busy, tonight, Tuesday, unexpectedly busy night, tonight was busier than Friday night. Now, what do you think about that, hey? Have a good hard think about that and let me know. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. This is nice, isn't it? Look at that. Look at that. Lovely chili infused olive oil. Isn't that nice? Things like that make life worthwhile, don't they? Oh, there's a question for you. Name a relatively inconsequential, inexpensive little thing or pleasure or habit that makes life really worthwhile. More so than you would think it would, given its level of inconsequence and inexpense. That's a good one. I'd love to hear those. Just those little things. And on the subject of little things, and I'm not talking about my tinkle, here's another one we haven't done for a while. No, I can't remember that. So, little things that make life worthwhile. Oh dear. Oh, good. The cheeseburger is here, says Trace. Rover wing, 2 kilograms, says Cheeseburger, with his normal cutting acerbic wit. I bet that was a new one. Yeah. I mean, you know, that's one of those jokes that's funny because it's true. You can bet Derek's wings don't weigh 2 kilograms. Oh, now this is interesting. Circadian rhythm. Thank you, Liz. See, I knew it began with S. Ish. What would I do without you, Liz? Well, I struggle without you. That's what I do. You are my go-to person for words and phrases that I can't recall. and you're worth your weight in gold, or even Lurpak, which are kind of the same things now. Although, I did notice today that Sainsbury's have got the big Lurpak, and I mean the big boy, the big daddy. This fellow here, look at the size of that. The, what is it, 750? Yeah, 750. Normally £7.50. If you've got a Nectar card, £5. Bargain. I'll be getting one of those soon, at some point. Where was I? Yes, Mark says, today I saw a Lurpak toast rack that had been repurposed as a letter rack. Is that right? Well, let's debate that. Now, I like a letter rack. I do like a letter rack. And I don't think I have one. I had one in the marital home. I don't think I've had one. Not me. I don't think I've had one since my divorce. And it's one of those things that my grandparents had that gave me a sense of warmth and comfort. Oh, there's a good feature. Feature number 6. What did your grandparents have that gave you a sense of warmth and comfort? That's a great feature, that is. Somebody write that down. That's gold. We'll use that one again. What an excellent feature. God. So, I'm personally, me, Boaty, God above. I can only apologise for my windiness tonight. Gosh, it's coming out of both ends. I've no idea what's going on there. I personally have got no objection to a Lurpak toast rack being used as a letter rack. Let me double check. Let me just have a little think with myself. Well, I've just cogitated. And yeah, I haven't got a problem with that. But what about you guys? What do you think? Oh, Trace says, and it's a hidden comment, I guess YouTube didn't want Boaty to see my cockchafer comment. No, I haven't seen a cockchafer comment, Trace. The hidden moderator of unpleasantness obviously got rid of that without me even seeing it. I've had soup, says Matt, from a tin, not a packet for a change. Oh, right, okay. I'm surprised you don't make soup, Matt. Now, you're a man who makes pies, and in my mind, somebody who makes pies would also make soup. Now, maybe that's wrong, because a pie is baking and a soup is, well, I don't know, souping, and maybe they're not crossover events. But in my mind, in my twisted little nugget up here, then a pie maker would also be a soup maker. So I am surprised at you using tins and packets, but I would like to know which soup it was. And feature number 12, what is your favourite homemade soup and what is your favourite soup from a tin? Now I'm going to answer that myself. My favourite homemade soup is my Chinese hot and sour chili chicken soup, which I haven't made for ages. Now I come to think of it, I need to make that again soon, maybe this week. Oh, I could do that on a Land Rover lunch. Yeah, making soup on a Land Rover lunch, that'd be a good one. And my favourite soup out of a tin or a packet is, prepare yourself, is it Baxter's? What's the posh one in the grey? I think it's Baxter's luxury beef consomme. Bloody expensive, £2. £2 for a tin, but it really is jolly nice. And I haven't had that for ages either, and I need that in my life. So tomorrow I'm going to go and shoplift a tin of that from Sainsbury's. It's one of those tins that I like to have in the cupboard for emergencies. Oh, there's a good feature. Feature number 23. What emergency tins do you like to have in your cupboard? Now, I like the Baxter's Consommé, luxury beef consommé. Right, emergency tins. And not your everyday stuff, just your emergency stuff. What about Stag's chili? What about a Stag's chili as an emergency tin? That's not a bad one, is it? God, I mean, I don't have them now, and I should do. Because it gives a sense of warmth and security, having emergency tins like your grandparents used to have. So there you go. That's one for feature, whatever it was, 112. Emergency tins, that's something that my grandparents used to have that gives me a sense of warmth and security. But not much though, because they made everything. They grew all of their own salad, all of their own vegetables. And when I was very young, they still slaughtered their own animals, although that kind of stopped. What other emergency? Well, obviously baked beans. Obviously you should have. I haven't got any. I don't think I've got any emergency tins. Oh, I've got one. I've got one emergency tin. Now, I need to work on this. That is my emergency tin. Is it still in date? Best before end January. Oh. I can't see January the what? January the something. I remember now about, I think it was just before Chinese Madam moved in. I had a clear out of all of my emergency tins, which to be fair were all about 5 days out of date, 5 years out of date. But there you are. That's something that I can do. Over the next week, I will shoplift one emergency tin per night and build my stock back up. It's an outrage that I haven't got baked beans. Everybody should have a tin of baked beans, shouldn't they? I mean, it's, you know, that's a no-brainer. That's a given. But I'd love to hear about your emergency tins. And what about an emergency Fräulein Bentos pie? That has got to be the height of emergency luxury. And you know what? I haven't had one of those for years, and now I want one. I want one tomorrow. Oh. And if you have a Fräulein Bentos pie, then do you eat it all, or would you share it between two people, or save half? And would you eat anything with it? Or would you just plonk the thing into your pasta dish or whatever and just eat the pie and nothing else? I would happily just eat the pie and that wonderful, wonderful suet pastry that's all crispy and crunchy on the outside and then all soggy and suety on the... Oh, God, I want one of those now. It's been so long. Anyway, let's catch up with some of your comments. I mean, you know, I've thrown the features out there. You know, I ought to indulge your joining in with them. So where do we get to? Ah, yeah, we got to Matt having soup from a tin. Neil Gibbons says, half washing a car is like wiping your bottom before having a poo. It's just wrong. Well, no, it's really not, Neil. It's like having a poo and then God wiping your bottom. That's what it's like. You know, putting the shampoo, the waxing shampoo, on the car is the equivalent of having a poo, but then instead of having to wipe your own bottom, i.e. rinse it off, God does that for you with rain. So yeah, it would be the equivalent of God giving you a bidet. So yeah, you've got that. You've got that arse before face, if you'll forgive the phrase. Adam says we can have a census of wing weights and General Cheeseburger. It's one of the wings from my other 25, stored in the garage since 2014, so minimal rust. Right, okay. Oh, hello. It's been payday, says Trace. People are raring to enjoy summer. It hasn't been my payday. I expected a difference between the business unexpectedly, says Simon. Toblerone, says Liz, which could be a bit of a non sequitur. I don't know what that relates to. Is that what Liz has eaten today? Is that what she has in her emergency cupboard, but it's not a tin? Is that what her grandparents had that gave her a sense of warmth or comfort? Or is that what she thinks gay people should be given free for dessert? Oh, hang on, that might have been last night's feature. I'm getting mixed up with my features. I did enjoy last night's discussion on human pea shooters, though. I thought that was splendid. And I genuinely think we should put that into practice in real life. Oh, it's a little pleasure. Thank you, Trace, for clarifying. Toblerone is a little pleasure that makes life worthwhile. I like that feature. And Trace agrees with Toblerone being a little pleasure that makes life worthwhile. Cheeseburger says, inexpensive pleasures. It starts with a M. And that should be an M cheeseburger, because M is EM, isn't it? And if it starts with a vowel, that means it should be an rather than a. Or an with an E. Who has read Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery? And if you haven't, well, I mean, shame on you. What sort of childhood did you have? It was wonderful. And for those who have read, well, actually, prove you've read Anne of Green Gables by naming Anne of Green Gables by naming any one of the characters. And I need first names and last names. And don't cheat and Google, and don't make them up, because I know all of them, and so I'll know if you've made them up. And I will denounce you on this public forum in front of 6 people. And don't think I won't. Trisha Alderman, who is a channel member, and I'm very grateful for that. And I'm very grateful to all of my other channel members. And the sharper-eyed or eared amongst you might have noticed that today's video had a brand new outro. And the reason it had a brand new outro wasn't the reason that the last time there was a new outro, which is because all of those free channel memberships expired and I had to redo it. No. Tonight's was new for a much nicer reason. 2 new channel members, to whom I am exceedingly grateful. And the new channel members were, well, I mean, they weren't brand new today, but I only get round to doing a new one about once a week. I only really get time on a Tuesday. And the newer channel members were John Maruzzi and Psychonaut7, who had both previously been channel members, but who renewed their memberships, and I'm really, really grateful to all of you. It does make a real difference. But you know, I'm grateful to all of you anyway, especially all of you lot, my inner scrotum, who keep me company here, night after night, well, 4 nights a week anyway, and save me from talking to myself and I mean this, give me something to look forward to. Yeah, I do. I look forward to these. I really do. Even when I'm tired and think, oh, I wish I could just eat and go to bed, I genuinely look forward to this time that we have together. And I'm genuinely grateful to all of you for sparing me this time that we can enjoy or endure, depending on your point of view. And I know that it's quite an antisocial time, so that makes me even more grateful. I don't do it to be difficult, as you know. I do it because I work antisocial hours. There we are. Anyway, Trisha Alderman says, husband says chocolate as a little pleasure that makes life worthwhile. Hiking, says Barry. Hiking floats my boat. Matt says Rocky Bar straws. Oh, bloody hell. And Trace in Life's Little Pleasure says a really good poo that properly empties you and makes you feel a stone lighter. Lovely. Actually, I'm not going to disagree with that. A really satisfactory poo is a wonderful thing, and does, for that little snapshot in time, definitely makes life worthwhile. Trace continues with Life's Little Pleasures. An unexpected car journey that takes you through new places with a window down and fresh air in your face. No argument with that. And then Cheeseburger says, butter seems to be a lost leader for all of the supermarkets. Yeah, and it makes total sense, doesn't it? You know, I remember reading that the German discount supermarkets, their business model was that, you know, they had these non-branded super cheap things, but they also have branded stuff as well, or they did. I don't go into them, obviously. I would be worried about, you know, bumping into somebody who hadn't washed, or being seen and somebody assuming that I hadn't washed. So I avoid them like the plague, or like a rabid dog if you prefer. But I was certainly told that they bred a customer belief that everything was super discount, but that their branded goods were actually dearer than the mainstream supermarkets, but that the customer perception was that the branded goods would also be cheaper in the same way that the non-branded goods were. And that was where a lot of their profit came from. How true that is, I genuinely don't know, but because, as I said, I don't go in them. And, you know, why would you? Well, I'm sure there are lots of good reasons why many of you might shop in discount supermarkets. You know, not for me. I totally want a toast rack to use as a letter rack, says Trace. I just need to find the one that feels like me. Oh, right, yeah. I totally get that. You will come across one that jumps out at you and says, Trace, I am your letter rack. I believe that. I genuinely believe that. Oh, I'm glad to see the features back. Thank you, Boaty. Oh, you're so welcome. I've got a letter rack in the study, says Cheeseburger. Now, humble brag there. But the humble brag isn't that he's got a letter rack. It's what's added after that. It's the quiet aftermath in the study. In other words, this is the way that he was kind of saying that in his mind. I've got a letter rack in my study. That's the thing to focus on. Or maybe that's just me and my jealousy. Although I've kind of got a study. But I like a study. And I think a study is an excellent thing. And I haven't got a real study because I live in a relatively small, quite big cottage. But as you know, I have got a guest suite which features a study area that I've created. So I've either got a guest room that also functions as a study, or I've got a study that also functions as a guest suite. And I'm not exactly sure which way round it works, but it doesn't really matter, does it? But the point is, I do love a study. And if you're going to have a letter rack, then I can't think of a better place for it to go than in the study. And if you haven't got a study, then I would suggest it should go on the mantelpiece. And if you have neither a study nor a mantelpiece, I can only suggest that you move house immediately, because you need one or the other, if not both. I've definitely got a mantelpiece and I've kind of got a study. So, you know, I'm at least 1.5 out of 2. And that is both a little pleasure that makes life worthwhile and the other one. What was the other one? Oh, things that bring warmth and comfort, except they were supposed to be that your grandparents had. So that doesn't really work. Grandparents had a coal fire, that gave us warmth. Now, I'll take that cheeseburger. You may have been being sarcastic, or you may not have, but I will take that because that works in 2 ways. Obviously, it gives you warmth in the literal sense, but also it warms the heart of your cockles, doesn't it? I mean, an open coal fire is a wonderful, wonderful, soul-gladdening comfort thing to have. I mean, it's also a pain in the arse. As I've told you before, my Welsh cottage had coal-fired Rayburns, a massive one, a massive range Rayburn in the kitchen that controlled the central heating, the hot water, and obviously on which you cooked. And it was purely coal-fired. There was no oil or electric backup, purely coal. And then there was a small Rayburn in the front room, and that controlled well, it controlled a radiator is what it controlled. So they are a pain in the arse, but they are a wonderfully comforting thing. You need a good chimney sweep though. Yeah. There's a life's little pleasure thing, a freshly swept chimney. If you've never had an open fire or a coal-fired Rayburn or Arga, then you wouldn't believe the incredible pleasure of a freshly swept chimney, because chimney sweeping is a job that you always leave too late. And that is feature number 286. Name a job or task that you always leave too late. And then when you do it, you lambast yourself for having left it too late and promise that you'll never leave it too late again. But of course you do, you always do. Something like descaling your coffee machine, something like that. But chimney sweeping is something that everybody leaves too late. And then when you do it, oh my God, it's like an incredible joy, because you can light the fire easily. And you'll have been struggling to get the thing going for months and months and months and months. And the first time you do it with a freshly swept chimney and everything is lovely and clear, your flue is spotless. And the fire lights so beautifully and burns so well. You think, well, to have let it get as bad as it did and to have put this job off as long as I did, I really am a complete tosser. So there you go. That was your feature number 394. What jobs do you always leave too late and then regret it and then leave it too late again? There are some cracking features coming out tonight. You lot are on fire. You really are. Evening, Boaty, says Jaden. How's your day been? It's been okay, mate. How's yours been? I hit 200 followers on TikTok today. Well done, you, sir. And, you know, another milestone on the road to many more, I'm sure. Mustard's got a milestone coming up. He is 3 videos away from his 1000th video. And that's quite a big milestone, isn't it? I saw the lovely Rover 45 today. I would still like a Rover 45. And I've got my Rover 45 brochure in the bathroom. And about 1 poo in 3, I idly put together my dream Rover 45. It's a saloon, it's in Starlight Silver Metallic, unsurprisingly. It's the 1.8 automatic. It's in the duotone trim with the all black ash, and it's got full black leather, front fog lights, heated seats, and the Blaupunkt audio system. But yeah, I do feel that the fleet won't be complete without a 45. But I also feel very strongly that the 45 would need to be an automatic saloon. I do prefer the look of the saloon, to be honest. And I've also decided, or have I? I did decide that I would like a ZTT 135, if that's the CDTI automatic. But then I thought, well, I'd like an X-type estate, and I couldn't have both. Yeah. There we are. What did my grandparents have? Hearing aids that whistled, my lovely granddad. Oh God, yeah, that was my grandmother. My grandparents had a church clock that stared into all their bedrooms. That stared? Oh, I see. It's in my YouTube vids. Oh right, a church clock. I thought, right, okay. I should try making soup, says Matt. Mark says Sainsbury's CEO Simon Roberts is on 4.9 million a year salary stroke bonus. How is he can survive on that? Very well, I imagine. Fuck off, cheeseburger. I see the short of the Fiesta accelerating away from you has done well. Yeah, that short has done okay. 1,300 views since lunchtime. But the Fiesta wasn't accelerating away. I watched it again after your comment, you bugger. Now, the Fiesta accelerated a lot quicker than me. He was eager, whereas I hung back before I went round the van. I let them go first. So, yeah, initially he accelerated away, but then if you watch the short again, then I was holding him or catching him, but then I eased off and he kept going. Because as soon as I hit 70, that was it. I eased off because I genuinely don't exceed, or I don't knowingly exceed 75 mile an hour on the motorway, an indicated 75 mile an hour. And by indicated, I mean on the vehicle speedo, not on a digital device. So you know damn well that 75 is going to be 75, 76, 77, 10%. That's going to be about the 70 mile an hour mark. And even if it's a bit over, then we all know that you get a little bit of leeway in terms of the speed. So I was in a ZT 190. There's no Fiesta. Well, actually there might be, because there are some hot Fiestas now, but that wasn't a modern hot one. There's no way that I couldn't have kept up with that Fiesta had I wanted to. I just wanted to get round that bloody van and just give Stigbürt a burst, because that had been a jolly frustrating journey. And once I was up to the 75, that was it. I was happy to cruise. And in fact, when I watched the fuel gauge start to go down, I did a bit of hypermiling. and I tucked him behind an Arctic doing 56, about 3 inches behind his back bumper to put a bit of economy into it. Mustard goes on about the dreadful fuel economy on the ZT, and I say, oh, it doesn't matter because it's not an everyday car. But I'd forgotten that yesterday, when I was coming home and giving it the wallop, and I did give it the wallop on the way home, you can actually see the gauge go down, which is fun in a way. A fun fact, says Adam, the first soup I made wrote off a pan and ended up infused with Teflon. Apparently the trick is not to use hand blenders in non-stick pans. Oh, right. That sounds sensible. I don't like soup, says Trace. I mean, I sort of like it, but it needs far too much bread to stop being a drink. Cream of tomato. After all of that, cream of tomato. Homemade soup, says Liz. Bacon, leek and potato. Bought soup, oxtail. Oh, I approve of both of those. Oh, hang on. This is a hidden comment. Oh, I've been allowed to unhide that one. That's nice. It's from Jaden. Can everyone help me, please? I stopped posting on my channel for a month, and now I've started posting again. My videos are hardly getting any views. Can anyone give me some advice on how to get my views up? Over to you guys. Heinz cream of mushroom for tea, says Matt. Favourite soup would be decent restaurant soup of the day, and Baxter's soups are delicious. I buy own brand soup, says Cheeseburger. I can put up with it. Broccoli and Stilton, or butternut squash, both homemade, says Tricia, or Heinz cream of tomato. Oh, people seem to be very keen on Heinz cream of tomato. I find it too sweet. I mean, I haven't had any for 20 years. But wasn't it terribly sweet? Oh, and here's another feature, because this has taken me back, way back when. Feature number 1394. Do they still sell croutons that you can put in your soup to add a bit of texture? Or does anybody make their own croutons? Basically, are croutons still a thing? I can remember in my 20s buying croutons from the supermarket and putting them in tinned soup, which now seems really quite sad. Except that I'm now craving some tinned soup with supermarket croutons. Emergency tin, says Cheeseburger. Sausages and beans. No, because those sausages are just... They're not even food, are they? They're like vegetarian tofu. You know, you can't call that sausage. Chaz Brown is with us and says, emergency tins, tuna. Interesting. Liz's emergency tins, ravioli, chicken and cream sauce, and Heinz big soup. Now, I wouldn't eat any of those. Or would I eat ravioli? Do I like ravioli? I don't think I've had ravioli since I was at school. And the tinned ravioli would be like the Heinz stuff. And I'm trying to think what's in that. It's just like, I think I probably would eat that. But I approve of all three of those. Mark says, Grandma's 50-year-old gas cooker had constantly lit pilot lights on all burners, grill and oven. And that gave the opposite sense of warmth and security. What, you mean it was a fire hazard? Cheeseburger says, Trace. Oh yeah, because Trace said to Cheeseburger, I missed that Reader Fiesta, we'll watch later. Husband is looking for a Fiesta to buy. He's in no hurry. And then Cheeseburger replied, Trace, Mr. Boaty got very indignant in the comments on part 1 tonight. I thought I was watching Chubby Brown. I did. I got all sweary. And that was genuine. It wasn't because I was filming or anything. I was really bloody frustrated. It was mad. Trace sees emergency tins, tomatoes, baked beans, beans and sausages, spag bol, tinned spag bol, and another ravioli. Okay, well, so the most popular ones so far are ravioli and sausage and beans. Who believes that the date on tins, asks Adam. My stance is anything inside a decade out of date will probably be fine. 20 years should be okay, and even odds on a 50-year-old tin. I love that. I love that. Oh, that was like Wogan in the old days. Oh, that's like a proper Togs comment. God, no Frau Bentos, says Trace, all slime and flake. That's the beauty of them, woman. That is the beauty, the slime and the fake. Frau Bentos pies, spot the meat. Well, there's some in there amidst the grey. I mean, it's not about the meat. It's about the lovely salty gravy and the slime and the flake. Emergency tin, says Cheeseburger. Do you have a nuclear shelter? You don't need a nuclear shelter. You just need to be living permanently on the edge of poverty when not only can you not afford to do much shopping, but you can't even afford the petrol to get to the shop. That's when fuck a nuclear emergency, right? We'll get the 4-minute warning, we'll shag whatever's closest to us, and 4 minutes later we'll all be dead. No need for emergency tins. No, emergency tins are for people like me who live on the edge of poverty and know damn well that a day or days will come when you're so poor you can't shop and you can't even afford to get to the shop. And that is when you need your emergency tins. Oh! Another emergency tin that I always used to have, and I should have again. A tin of potatoes. If you've got a tin of potatoes and a Frau Bentos pie, you have got a meal fit for a king. And it will last in your cupboard for, according to Adam, for about 50 years. Tinned potatoes. Now, Sainsbury's, way back in the day, all of those tinned potatoes that you get are I haven't got one to show you. I need to stock up my tin cupboard. Now that Chinese Madam is gone, quite some time ago, I can stock my cupboard back up. It's not full of her shit. But the tinned potatoes, they're all those skinned, sweet ones in sweetened water, which are actually quite nice, let's be honest. And I knew somebody who used to fry them and swear blind that they were the best fried potatoes that you can do. But back in the day, Sainsbury's used to sell proper potatoes in a tin with the skin still on. And they were like a brown tin. And that's what I used to have in my cupboard. And I wish they still did them. But a tin of potatoes, it's about 30p, or even less if you shoplift it. So everybody should have potatoes, tinned potatoes in their cupboard. I'm going to buy all of these tins, or shoplift them, over the next week. And I'm going to really enjoy it. And actually, maybe over the next 2 weeks, I'll buy one per night, but I'll only do it Monday to Thursday, so that I can show you on that night's live stream. And give me your suggestions for what you think I should have in my emergency tin cupboard. And a reminder, this is my only emergency tin. at the moment. Stag's classic chili con carne. It's not a classic in my book, but it's American classic, I suppose. I'd like to build that cupboard back up. I used to have a thriving, well, I've got 2 cupboards. What? Who's ponging me? Oh, right, okay. I've actually got a double cupboard here. Hang on. That's Cooper. If he's pinging me, he's got free time. And he always watches my live streams. He watches every one, but about a month after I've done them. If he's free to ping me, he could be watching this. Oh, although he says he doesn't watch them live, and I know him. I've known him for 20 years. And this is true. He doesn't watch them live, so he can't comment live, so he can't offend me and you and everybody else. And believe me, he would. So it's probably a blessing that that he doesn't watch them live. But yeah, I used to have a thriving double cupboard of all of my emergency goods here. There would be tins, there'd be maybe a multi-pack of crisps, there'd be some packets of rice, you know, the microwave ones, that and stuff like that. And I stripped it out when Madam came. Actually, I didn't strip it before Madam came in, that's a lie. I stripped it after Madam moved in because she took the piss out of me for all the shit I had in there and said that she was never going to eat that and she wasn't going to allow me to eat it either, and she needed the room for all of the shit that she initially brought with her in 2 massive suitcases, and then the shit that she bought from the Chinese supermarkets in Chinatown in Sheffield. But the point is, I can now build my cupboards back up with my own good British emergency shit. So we'll make that a feature over the next 10 days. Emergency cupboard stuff. And if you're inspired by anybody else's ideas to buy an emergency item for your emergency cupboard, or if you're inspired to start an emergency cupboard, if you don't have one, share it with us. Let us know. Let's all share our emergency cupboards. I pledge that I will buy an emergency canned item tomorrow night. Well, I don't pledge that I'll buy it. I'll pledge that I'll get one. I might shoplift it. Where did I get to? One never shares Fray Bentos soggy flake. And who knows what the fuck it is, says Liz. Did you see, asks Mark, Mike Brewer has had his car trailer containing a Mark 1 Fiesta stolen from a Wakefield hotel car park. No, I didn't see that. I do like Mike Brewer though. Trey says, emergency tin, corned beef. It's not something oh God, I thought that said sat on. It's not something I eat on the regular, but it's great for a comfort food dish and emergency ration. Oh, and Liz clarified that Toblerone is a cheap luxury. Thank you for that. I did think about Ann M, says Cheeseburg. It's a bit like H. Yeah. So any word that begins with H, like hotel, it's never a hotel, it's an hotel. Because H is spelled A-I-T-C-H, begins with a vowel, so it's an, not a. There you are. That cheapo frozen chocolate cake, says Trace, or Black Forest Gatto that costs about £2 for a whole one. A slice of that and a good slug of thick cream. Little pleasures. Oh, that was the other feature I was going to do. Little victories, but we'll do that tomorrow. Those stupid little meaningless victories that you pull off that give you a weird sense of achievement, accomplishment or pleasure. Like, oh, what now? It's bloody Cooper again. Cars that we should buy. Like stopping the petrol pump on exactly £1 without meaning to. Or when you do mean to. Off topic, says Liz. Kitchen tech questions for all you foodies out there. Does anyone on here have a soda stream? Are they worth having? God, welcome back to the 1970s. Surely they don't still make those, do they? I've forgotten to drink my tea, says Jaden. Now it's flat cold. Oh dear. Slam it into the microwave, Jaden, says Trace. Cheeseburger says, oh fucking hell, now Mustard's talking about cars to buy. Why are they not watching my live stream? These are my closest friends and business partners. And they're ping-ponging me instead of watching this bollocks. Which is probably more use, actually. Yeah, I mean, they're actually thinking about business rather than this crap. So they're doing a good thing, actually. I take back everything I said. I bought a soda stream, says Cheeseburger, for my daughter. She's at uni in Halls, so takes up no space and is cheaper than £1.50 for a 500ml bottle. She takes to lectures. 2 litre bottles seem as cheap though. Right, okay. I've heard they're great if you like fizzy drinks, says Trace, because at least you know what's going into your pop. Asda has been subject to a leverage buyout, says Cheeseburger. Not cheap anymore. Oh, man. Well, they were never that cheap, what with supporting the IRA and all of that. Oh, Mustard is here and says, hello, everyone. How nice. A study, says Simone, incredulously. Decadent capitalist. Quite right, too. Oh, we're all waving at Mustard. My study, says Cheeseburger, is the feature of a 2000s house. It means you have a small dining room. I do have a desktop in there, and my... Oh, pissing hell. Oh, 2 Rover 75s, but not a Renault. Okay. I do have a desktop in there, and my Dire Straits gold records, and a crippling mortgage as well. Oh, and Mustard says everything is great, actually. Thank you. Oh, that's nice. Coal fire with a back boiler in grandparents' house, says Cheeseburger. There used to be a back boiler here, believe it or not. And here is a chimney. 2 chimneys in this cottage, one there and one in the front parlour. Neither of which are currently in use, and one of which I would obviously love to turn into a log burner. And I will do one day. I think I'm the only cottage here that doesn't have a log burner. Oh, God above. Oh, he's doing it on purpose now. So glad I'm not doing a live stream tonight. Yeah. Piss takers. Cheeseburger says, Simone, I'm certainly not a capitalist. Struggling to make a self-employed living. Yeah, but you've got a study and a dining room. Is Mustard driving a double-decker bus for his 1,000 video? I think that's 100,000, isn't it? I'd love to do something like... Well, I say I'd love to do something like that. I've already done it, but not on video. I used to drive a double-decker bus all the time. I think I've told you before. I used to do pub tours. In a double-decker bus for Colin, because his bus driver buggered off, and I'm not a bus driver. I didn't know how to drive the bus. I'm not legally entitled to drive the bus. I was just told to do it, so I managed to do it. A bloody 1930s Routemaster with a crash box and no power steering. Oh, happy days. But I'm not jealous of Mr. Hubnut for much. But like him, the bus of my childhood was a 1970s Leyland National. and I would give almost anything to drive one of those. So I am jealous of him for that. But congratulations to Mustard on 1,000 videos. That's a lot of work. I'm just about to, no, I have just hit 550. So I'm a way behind, but he is a year ahead of me. Simone says, I spent a while today sorting out my driver's front brake caliper on TC. Good on you. Oh, it's now 2 videos away from 1,000 for Mustard. He must have just put one out. Oh, advice for Jaden from Cheeseburger. Oh, fucking hell. Post a short of you being burned off by a Fiesta. The algorithm loves it. Yeah. Trace says, regarding YouTube views, mine are down, literally in the single figures, and some with zero views. I would suggest watching the channels to give advice about algorithms, tips, etc., and just keep going. What would my advice be? I'm not the right person to give advice. I am striving to keep up, well, not to keep up. I'm striving to hit and maintain 1,000 views per day. That's what I'm trying for. Some days I do it, a lot of days I don't. So, oh gosh, advice. Oh, I mean, make the best video that you can. Be very careful which. Be very careful to use the best hashtags that you can. Oh, fuck off. Boaty is upset that we're having a chat. Fucking piss-taking arsehole. I can't say anything because I plagued him on one of his live streams. Me and Mike. That was a funny night. Well, don't try and play me at that game because I'll just start reading your comments out as if they were part of the live stream. What was I saying? Oh yeah, a genuine bit of advice, right? Work harder on your thumbnail. No matter how good you think your thumbnail is, work harder on it. Make it better. Go over and above. I spend a minimum of certainly I spend a minimum of 30 minutes on a thumbnail. There's the initial image, which I try to take as a photo rather than using a still from an actual film. I try and, I normally forget, but I try and remember to take an actual photo using the best camera that I've got to use as the thumbnail. And then that goes into how many comments before he starts swearing? Funny. It is funny actually. Then that goes into an editing program that is designed to create YouTube thumbnails, and then it'll come out of that and it'll go into another editing suite for the colors and whatnot, and contrast, and a vignette if you want to put a vignette on, and any cropping that you want to do, and then that will go from that into another editing program which will put the finishing touches on it and whatnot, and possibly into another one depending on what text or effects I want to put on it. I haven't always done this. I've only been doing this for the last 3 or 4 weeks or so. I don't know if it makes a difference, but I enjoy having a good thumbnail. What else? Oh, I really haven't got any advice. If I knew what I was doing, I would be a lot more successful than I am. Oh, I mean, it's all about the content, isn't it? It's all about the content. But then it's also about getting people to view the content, because if you've got the best content in the world, if people don't view it, then it's not going to do you any good. Do a search for hashtags that are trending, and try and use those, see if that helps. And just shove loads out there. At the moment, as I say, I am aiming for, and sometimes hitting, sometimes exceeding, I'm aiming for just 1,000 views a day, which, you know, isn't actually, might seem like a big amount if you're not getting many views, but it's not really a big amount. So for example, a channel like Mustard's does, you know, quite a lot more than that. So, but I'm aiming for 1,000 views per day, so your analytics tend to default to a 28 day period. So that would be 28,000 on your 28 day. And I am aiming for a minimum of 2 elements of content per day. And on 4 days out of the 7, 3. So for example, today there's been a short which did 1,300 views. There's been a longer format, and I don't know how many views that has done. I'd be guessing. I would guess, what time is it? It's just gone midnight, which means that I should be finishing. It's probably done somewhere around 100. My long formats go live at 1919. I would guess it's not a bad one. Like, I know if I put a Boaty's noshes up that I'll get no views. This is a Mustard and Boaty with a decent thumbnail and a decent title. I guess it's done 100 views by now. And then there's this live stream, which by the time I get the analytics from this tomorrow morning, that will probably initially have hit about 100 views, which will give me 1,500 on the day. But, you know, there's a bit of effort gone into that. It takes a bit of effort to put up what you think might be a decent short, and a half decent long format, and then a live stream as well. But there you go, that's what I'm doing to try and get the views in. I've got no idea if that's any help to you, Jaden, but best I can do. Somebody else might do better. There are croutons in the salad aisle, says Cheeseburger, and I don't think that's a euphemism. I'm the same, says Mark, with 75 mile an hour max on the motorway, having been copped at 79 as Yorkshire at 10% plus 1 mph. Oh, so you were 1 mile an hour over. Oh God, that's gutting, isn't it? But honestly, on the motorways these days, you've got cameras on so many gantries, and you don't know whether they're speed cameras or security cameras or what. You've got marked cars, you've got unmarked cars. It's just not worth it. It's honestly not worth it. Unless you're Clarkson and your dad's dying or your wife's in labour, just allow enough time and just sit at 70, 75. Or if you're driving a ZT190, allow even more time and sit at 60 behind a National Express coach. I love hypermiling. I used to hypermile even before hypermiling was a thing. And, you know, even before the phrase existed. There was quite a period of time when I was commuting from Exeter or Rockbeer, a village just outside of Exeter, and I was commuting on a daily basis to the showrooms in South Birmingham. And I was doing that in a Porsche 928. And I used to hypermile then, just sit behind it wasn't anything that I read about or learned about. It came from cycling. Now, I knew that if you sat in somebody else's slipstream on a bicycle, then you saved 20% of your own effort, which is why if you ever watch cycling, and I know you don't like me talking about it, you'll see people doing turns. So you do your turn at the front, you break the wind, not in a way, and then you go to the back and the next person takes their turn, and that's how you do it. And I kind of figured that if that works on a bike, it must work in a car as well. So if I sit behind a truck or a coach or something big, or even a big van, then my car should be doing 20%, making 20% less effort at least, possibly more because cars are bigger than people on bikes, and will save me a lot of money. And it did. And it became as much of a thing for me, especially if I had a car with a trip computer. Then, you know, you have your challenge where if you got a sat-nav, when sat-navs came in, the sat-nav gave you your ETA, right? And your challenge was to beat that by, not just beat it by 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it was. But I also used to have a lot of economy challenges. And I haven't got a car with a fuel computer at the moment, unbelievably. But on regular journeys, once it became too dangerous to speed, and by dangerous I don't mean danger of accidents, I mean danger of being caught, then the challenge would become one of economy, and you would do your regular journey trying to get the best figure yet, a personal best from your trip computer. And you know, you'd sit in behind vehicles, you'd knock it out of cog and freewheel whenever you're going downhill, all of that good sort of thing. Right, let's whiz through these comments and bugger off, shall we? The last time I had Heinz Big Soup, says Trace, it was like baby food. Well unseasoned, slop, and although steak, it had about 3 strands of meat in it. Been a while since Big Soup, and most probably you're right, says Liz. Matt says, I watched Chubby Brown today. The neighbour says I shouldn't call his wife Chubby or watch her sunbathe. I like chicken soup only, says Simone. Dates on tins I ignore, says Trace, as long as the can hasn't blown or rusted, and when you open it, the interior of the can is still bright and the food smells and looks fine. Tin potatoes, says Cheeseburger, grow your own. I do. I grow strawberries too. I don't, but try them with white pepper. True, says Adam. A damaged tin is not to be trusted at any age. The soup snob likes tin potatoes, says Cheeseburger. I don't. Well, they're like a guilty treat, like a Fräulein pie, aren't they? I do grow my own potatoes out there in the yard. Tin potatoes, says Trace. Oh my God, grossness. Fry them off or roast them, but be careful because they explode. Ah, yes, says Mark. Grandma did tin new potatoes. Very nice comfort food. Exactly. Not had them for years. I need a tin in there. That might be my first tin tomorrow night. I like to peel my potatoes, says Simone, as in remove the mud-flavoured skin. Oh, will the new feature be, asks Adam, tin of the day? Yes. Yeah, it will be. Tin of the day. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do tin of the day starting tomorrow. I might even do a poll in the Facebook group. Emergency tin is cooking wine in a tin, says Cheeseburger. Now, I was taught by an excellent chef that there is no such thing as cooking wine. If you won't drink it, don't cook with it. YouTube views being down, says Liz, maybe due to a recent heat wave and people doing barbies outside, so not watching. Could be a thing. Live from the cottage in the peak, says Cheeseburger. It's the tin of the week. Boaty's been beaning today, judging by how windy it is at Windy Bum. I haven't had any beans. I had chicken and chips for lunch. And I've got, Momo tonight. And then I've got chicken sequa with naan for lunch tomorrow. Did you know, apparently, says Simone, you can kill someone with a tin of beans? Yeah, you could. It's been over a year now, says Mustard. Fill your own cupboard. Quite right. Emergency cupboard. Water. Good shout, but water lives in that one down there for me. How could I forget us, Liz? Best emergency food is a tin of spam. Yes, Liz re-spam, says Trace. Along the same lines as my corned beef. And Liz replies, I love tin spam, especially fried. That's a Boaty Cooks Outdoors item. It bloody isn't. I'm not cooking spam. Cheeseburger says, spam. The Argentinians have not had keys on them since the Falklands. Spam and bacon grill, says Simone. Spam and beans, says Adam. A proper emergency meal stroke camping meal. Corned beef hash, says Simone. Now we're getting to it. We borrowed the Outlaws caravan once, and I love the term outlaws. It's outlaws. Well, what's the difference between in-laws and outlaws? Outlaws are wanted. Brilliant old joke. We borrowed the Outlaws caravan once, says Mark. Cupboards were full of emergency tins from all over Europe. Bloody heavy to tow. Corned beef hash with a fried egg, says Trace. Aren't log burners being outlawed? I don't know, Cheeseburger. No, I don't know. Hadn't heard that. I've driven an MCW Birmingham double-decker. Not easy with the air brakes, says Cheeseburger. I've owned an MCW vehicle. Guess what it was? And I owned it long term, and I drove it all through France. That's a clue. Joking aside, Boaty, says Cheeseburger, why has that short done so well? Well, it hasn't done that well. It's done 1,300 views, which means that it's one of my not so well performing shorts since I started doing them. For me, a short that does well is like 3,000 views, not 1,300. My other recent shorts have been 16, 17, 18, 19, around there. So 13 is a little bit down there. Although, to be fair, I have had shorts that have done like 200 as well. So as to why certain shorts do well, I genuinely can't work it out. I can't work out how the algorithm works. I can't work out what it reacts to. I haven't got a clue. The only thing that I can figure to do is to slap, make the best one that you can, so that at the very least you think it will be of interest to your core audience, and just slap one up a day. And some of them will do well and some won't, and you won't know why. Basically, is my take on it. I hate hashtags, says Simone. And Cheeseburger says, Cheeseburger says, Simone, Boaty likes hash browns. I don't. I like hash brown potatoes. I hate those frozen hash browns that we seem to eat here for some reason. Hashtags seem to make zero difference to my views, says Trace, although I get that they should stroke must. Simone says, I spend a good amount of time on my thumbnails. Good for you. Trace says, I agree about thumbnails. They should be your absolute priority, possibly thinking about it even before you film the vid. And Simone says, I also paint my fingernails too. Cheeseburger says, your thumbnails always look nice, even when you are tinkering, Simone. Simone says, my last film to hit 1K took 2 weeks to get there. My foxes arrived for supper, says Cheeseburger. He's beautiful. Oh, lovely. I'm not reading that one. 70 miles an hour is ridiculous with modern cars, says Cheeseburger. Yes, in built-up areas, but not on motorways. My LCD display in Coney, says Simone, is knackered. Can't read the fuel thing. You can get that done, can't you? There's a guy that does them. So why are shorts better than a long video, asked Cheeseburger. No idea. They just are. Well, I mean, my best views come from long videos. But my best views do come from long videos, not from shorts. But shorts seem to be an easy way of picking up a reasonable amount of views. But I've got no idea why. I don't know how it works. Not a clue. If I knew, all of my shorts would be successful, and they're not. So, you know, I haven't got a clue. Just bang stuff up there, and what works will work, and what doesn't. Make sure you're happy with it, and try and make stuff that your core audience you think will like. Even if you've only got 12, make it for you, make it for them, and try and make it as entrancing as possible to new people. My shorts are in the drawer in the bedroom, says Simone. Mark says, our cupboard has the following tins: condensed milk, Fray Bentos meatballs, oh, mushy peas, and pineapple slices. God knows why. And Simone says, I'm attending a classic car show on Sunday. And, well, we'll see you before then, but we hope you enjoy it. And it's 24 minutes after I was supposed to finish. I want my Momo. I've got a bit of work to do before I go to bed tonight as well. And I am tired. I'm always tired after a Monday. And I've got a bit of housework to do as well. So, and I've got Mustard's video to watch, and possibly some more. There's a new Furious Driving one about the Punto. I'd like to see that. So, boom, here we go. Bring on the farts. All right, darlings, thank you so much for your company tonight. As always, I've loved it. I hope you've enjoyed it too. And I genuinely am really grateful for your time and your company and your support. I wish you all the safest and most peaceful of nights. And I hope you all have a fabulous day tomorrow. And I would love nothing more than to see you again tomorrow night, 11 o'clock. Much love to you all. Take care.